Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com, BidamountLive.com, and P.O. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, October 22nd, 2021. And this, of course, is our weekly video, the one we do every Friday, as most of you know, where we talk about the auctions over the last week, what was selling, what did well on eBay, the market, what's coming up on eBay, and also other auction news and things that are happening. A couple of things I wanted to mention before we get going here. First is we've added a whole bunch of catalogs this week, over here in the catalog section. So if you want to check them out, go ahead and do it. We've added the Bonham's Japanese sale that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Then the Bonham's Chinese works of art, and then of course the Perry sale that we talked about on Wednesday. In this week's video, we featured it because it's an interesting collection with an interesting history, and of course the exhibition catalog that's taking place, another Asian works of art catalog, and so on. The other thing I wanted to mention, I don't know if I mentioned this last week or not, but we added this. This is a very interesting paper. I've had this PDF for a little while, and I decided to put it up. There's no illustrations in it or anything like that, but it's a story about the dealer we've talked about many times, C.T. Liu. It's his history. It's 300 pages long. Everything you ever wanted to know about C.T. Liu, his market activities, what he bought, what he sold, what he was doing, and it's a really interesting story. It's an interesting story because he was a controversial guy. Some people felt he was looting China and taking away their cultural heritage, and other people believe that he was preserving it by getting it out of the country at a time of turmoil and developing a broad global appreciation for the art. So it's an interesting paper. So if you've got some time over the weekend, or you're sitting around somewhere with your phone and you want something story to read, this is a pretty good paper to read to get caught up. And then of course all the other catalogs. The book section there is up to 686 catalogs. I just found out, by the way, from the company who hosts this, they said once we hit 1,000 catalogs, it won't be for another couple of years, but we're going to have to set up a separate reference section because they can't hold more than 1,000 catalogs. Like the ones that we do. So at some point we're going to end up with 2 reference sections. Should be sort of fun. All right, now on to this. Oh, Bonham's, the Japanese sale. I wanted to mention this. As I've mentioned a number of times in the last year, that Japanese art seems to be seeing a little bit of life coming back into the old girl. And here you have it. Bonham's has a 397 lot sale of good Japanese objects, good cloisonne, good porcelain, some great swords and manuki and all that business, bronzes, of course, and on and on and on. And it's still in a, the prices, the estimates and things are still quite reasonable in this. Nearly all of it, estimated at under $5,000. Some of it in the $800 to $1,200 range. You want to check it out. You want to check this out if you're interested in Japanese art. They've got some great things in there, some good signed pieces. And so forth. The other thing I'm noticing too, over in England, and some of you have commented on it even, is that in the Chinese works of sale and in the Japanese works of sale, ivory, antique carved ivory, is coming back into the market over there. And I don't know what's happening exactly, but it seems like the hysteria over antique ivory is faded, and that there is a difference between antique ivory and the contemporary stuff that they looted from elephants. The markets are fairly separate, so they are beginning now to bring ivory back into their auctions as long as it's verifiable and authenticated as being old. They apparently are seeing less and less harm in selling it. Also some good subas and all this other stuff. So you want to check it out, the inrows and all this. One of my favorite lots in the thing is the first Netsky in the sale, which is this wooden tiger. It's wonderful by Yamada Masano. And we'll see what that does. It's estimated at 2,500 to 3,500 pounds. It's a pretty good carving, though. It's awfully attractive. And that kind of stuff is always appealed to me. I just like it. All right. Now, the other things I wanted to mention was this. Over in the Chinese works of art, their regular Asian sale. This is sort of the middle market sale they do, where they put together lots of porcelain and all this stuff. I've had a lot of inquiries in the last few weeks with people with Qingbai wares. They're interested in Sung wares. Sung wares are always of interest to people, but I've had quite a few of them. It's shocking. There's some pretty good little Qingbai lots over in this bottom sale. And one of them is this. It's a set of four peony bowls, a group of four peony bowls, because they're not matching. But with 1,000 to 1,500 pound estimate, they look pretty good. They're nice size. They're over 7 inches in diameter each, and nicely potted. So check out the bottom sale. If you're a dealer or a collector, they're good people to deal with, and I think you'll find some buys. All right, and also in that same sale is this, a really nice little Longquan Celadon teapot. Beautiful little example. I think this is just a nice, and not, they're not estimating it for the world, but just a nice, nicely glazed, well potted, nice proportioned little teapot. Perfectly beautiful, and 8 to 1,200 pound estimate sounds very reasonable to me. And then of course you have things like the cover lot, really rare Xuandi Marken period cloisonne box with a $550,000 to $830,000 estimate, but unbelievably rare. So we'll see how that does. The pomegranates on it are great, how they're done, and the colors are good, and the condition looks excellent. All right, so it'll be interesting to see that. And then this is something that absolutely jumped off the page at me when I saw it. This is an extremely rare type of porcelain, this bowl on a revolving stand that was produced by Tang Ying in the famous imperial workshops, and it's an absolutely great piece of porcelain. Unbelievably rare. The only other one like it, and they believe this is probably the mate to it, is in the Shanghai Museum. Okay, and this revolves. Here's a shot of the bottom of it, and this was something this is in their Chinese Works of Art sale, but absolutely fabulous. Marken period with this sort of green tea dust glaze bottom, and this bowl revolves on top of it and rotates. Now, the one in the Shanghai Museum has a lid. This one does not have a lid, so it's believed that it had a lid and it got lost, but fantastically rare. And for some reason, and it may be because it doesn't have the lid and they really didn't, this isn't a break, by the way, that's how that was made. They for some reason, they estimated it at 40 to 60,000 pounds, or $50 to $83,000, because it's missing its lid, I guess. And I don't think they have a comp to compare it to, because the only other known example is its mate, which is all in a museum in China. So I think they're going light on the estimate. But I'm going to keep an eye on this, see how this does. This is a stellar example, and this was produced by Tang Ying at a time when the emperor was really interested in having things that amused him, creative, innovative ideas. And Tang Ying, as you know, is always willing to try to please the emperor in coming up with things. And this was one of his innovations, and it was ingenious and brilliant and much appreciated by the imperial court. And it's coming up for sale. So I'm really curious to see if this estimate is going to hold. I can't imagine that it will. And I wouldn't be at all surprised to see if it blow through that estimate in multiples. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We all saw what happened to that vase at Doyle's that was, ended up selling for a couple of million against an estimate about 1/4 of that. But we'll see what this does, even though it's missing its cover. All right, now over to what's been going on over at eBay. Okay, every once in a while we see something that's sort of the bargain of the week. Well, this was the bargain of the week. This was a Chinese Amari Kangxi period covered pot. Absolutely great. Nothing wrong with it. What you're seeing is your eyes aren't deceiving you. A beautifully done example, nicely potted all the way around. Good photographs. Here's the bottom of it. And all this, and the seller made one mistake, I think. In the shipping, it says seller may not be shipping to the United States. And I don't know why they would do that. It ended up selling on one bid for $69 instead of selling for probably $600 to $800. All right. This was, whoever got this over in the UK, bravo on you. If you lived in the UK and you missed it, whoops. But I don't know why the seller would not want to ship this. It isn't especially big. It wouldn't be especially difficult to ship. It could be sent from the UK to here for under $80 or something. But at any rate, that was the absolute bargain of the week. That was the deal. All right, and it was a very, very pretty piece of porcelain. I thought it was extremely attractive in a fairly rare form. Okay. And then on to this, the Chinese silk panel, one of these dragon rondelle panels, with the opposing dragons in the center. Really nice piece, and each opposing, chasing a pearl with the waves, and then Buddha symbols and bats and so forth in the center. Nicely done, very very attractive. Ended up selling for $1,085, which the silk market continues to be strong, from what I'm seeing. I don't see any abatement of it at all. And I wanted to point out also is that the Bonhams, I think it's a Bonham sale, has a section in their Asian thing with it's been curated by Linda Rigglesworth, the famous Chinese silk dealer, silk robes and textile dealer. Very knowledgeable, and you want to check that out too if you want to get something that she's looked at and said grace over. And then on to this. This did very well. It was this very nice Chinese export silver set done like a tree with tree bark and branches and apple blossoms and so forth on it. Nicely done. Beautiful example. It hasn't been over cleaned, and ended up selling for $2,325. Very, very attractive. And then on to this robe, another robe. This is another robe. This is this is an informal robe, obviously, but beautifully done. Nice colors. And I'm not sure if this hasn't sold before. This might be one that sold a month ago. I'm not certain. It looks awfully familiar, but I couldn't find it from previously. Any rate, it's ended up selling for $2,739, which is a strong price. That's a good price for that, but it was in beautiful condition. So condition when it comes to silk, and this looks to be in excellent shape. And so again, silk prices are remaining strong. And then the bronze. We all remember this little bronze. I thought it was so attractive. It ended up selling a few weeks ago for around $1,200, and apparently the bidder didn't pay his bill. And the seller held off on it for a couple of weeks and relisted it. And I was really glad to see this. This time around, it brought more. All right, because sometimes tricksters out there will bid on something and then let it sell to them. They don't pay the bill, forcing the seller to try to relist it. And often it ends up selling the second time around for 10 or 20 or 30% less. And this time around, the dealer wins. I'm very pleased. This was a nice bronze. It deserved the price, and I hope this time around the dealer pays for it, or the collector. It's a very attractive little bronze. It's a nice one, and I don't think $1,600 was at all crazy on it. And then this, if you remember, these are the stands that went into that nice pair of nodding head figures that we're going to talk about in a minute. The seller decided to put them up separately, and we talked about them last week, but they're beautiful stands, and they brought more money than we thought they'd bring. They did really well. They actually brought more than the Nodder dolls that they were standing on top of. They ended up selling for $3,500 for the pair. Now, I hope they get paid for it. But that was a good price. But they're attractive, so it makes a big difference. And somebody with a pair of vases or objects that would look appropriate on them, it's the kind of thing you kind of have to bite the bullet and spend the money on it. And here are the Nodder dolls that are standing on top of those stands. There they are. Now, this didn't include the stands, just the two figures that I thought were very, very nice. And they brought around what we thought they'd bring. They brought a couple of $1,000, but they were very, very attractive, nice-looking pieces and fairly tall. These were, 15, 16 inches in height, 19th century, but very well done, beautifully done. And I don't think that they were overvalued at all. I think that was a reasonable price. As I said, the stands ended up selling for more, which was really interesting. But rare stands, Z-Tan stands especially, name a price. Collectors get really excited when they turn up on the market, and they're willing to pay a lot for them, obviously. Okay. And then over to this, the last lot was the abalone shell satsuma piece that came up. I commented last week, I've always liked these. I think they're attractive and interesting and creative. And they turn up on the market fairly often. You see them several times a year, here and there. They do turn up. It was something that they produced with some regularity. And they were all slightly different. This one is one with all the alohans on it, and nicely done. And the exterior had these, barnacle barnacles and crustaceans attached to it, like you'd find at the bottom of the ocean. Really interesting. Ended up selling for $836. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good for the Japanese Satsuma market. It's good news. And then other things that are coming up in this week, ending in 5 days on Wednesday, and this is all stuff that'll be on the newsletter page this week, is this very nice cylindrical tankard with a flared foot. This is sort of a nice one with that wide base on the bottom, beautifully decorated, nice looking ridged handle with the roux head on top and one at the bottom there. You can see it. The decoration on it is very, very nice. And these haven't been bringing a lot of money lately. These have been selling typically in the $200 or $300 range, maybe. So, and that's less than what they were selling for 20 years ago. A mug like this back in the 90s would bring $500 to $600 pretty easily. And today, these seems to be a little bit soft. But for the quality, for 18th century mugs, this is a very good deal. Because that is an 18th century mug. That's not a 19th century one. And then over to this bronze. I'm very interested to see what this does. This is being sold by Downsides. And at first, when I first saw it, I thought it might be, oh no, another one of these knockoffs. And I looked at it carefully. It isn't. This is an old one, late Ming, and nicely done. In my opinion, it's late Ming. And there's the back of it, beautifully stamped, nice patina. Here's the top. Here's the base up inside. Nice face on it, beautiful surface. All up through here, the surface, the patina, all looks good. Facial characteristics looks good. The robes, the folds look good. All of it. And he's on his stand. There it is. And this is pretty good. It's got a 16 character stamp mark on it. The mark looks fine, the way it's applied to the bronze. And this thing was pretty good size. It's a 16 reasonable gills several years ago. Yeah, he had it appraised a few years ago for $6,000. I'm not surprised. But that would be for insurance, probably. Who knows? All right. But at any rate, I think it's going to do very well. If we can get to the dimensions. Did he put the dimensions in? I wanted to get the exact height of it. Okay, where is the height on this thing? Excuse me. He's got a bunch of stuff up this week. Let's see here. No dimensions. That's kind of silly, isn't it? Oh, there it is. 9 inches tall, way at the bottom, way out of the way. It just as a little hint when you're doing your descriptions, don't do that. Don't put half the description at the top and the rest of it at the bottom. Put all the description together with the dimensions and condition and all that right at the top, nice and easy to read. All right, it's annoying to people who are trying to get information. Anyway, this is a really nice little bronze, I think, and it's 9 inches tall, and it should bring 2,000 to 3,000, I suspect anyway. I don't know if it'll bring 6 to 8, but you never know. It's market period, I think. Pretty sure it is. And then on to this, the Blanc de Chine Fu Lion. It's a nice looking one, probably Kangxi period or at least 18th century. Nice form, nice shape, nice expression. Good looking base on it. The base doesn't appear to be broken, which they often are. That's the thing with these things. You look at the bottom, there's always a break out of them somewhere. This one doesn't appear to have any damage at all. Looks like his ear, his right ear, might have something going on there. But overall, oh, there it is. Oh, one ear has old restoration. There it is. And rather amateur restoration. Yes, it is. But a thing like that, if you buy it, if you have a ceramicist that you work with, they can fix that up and fix the glaze on that pretty easily because there's no color to add. There's no painting to do. It's just a matter of getting it glazed over so it matches. And it's estimated, you know, I mean, it's currently, it's not estimated at all, but it's at $17. So what's it worth? Probably in the I would think in the $400 to $500 range at the end of the day, somewhere around there. It's an animal form. It's attractive and nicely done. Okay, and then over to this. This is a really pretty little finger bowl, Chinese export, 18th century, with this basket weave pattern going around the outside, beautifully decorated. This is a pretty little bowl, and it's a fairly rare form. This is what the bottom looks like. It's just sort of flat, slightly concave. Here's a shot of it here. You can see where it dips in just a little bit, but very nicely done on a very fine, thin porcelain. And at one point, it probably had some sort of a lid going on here, judging by the unglazed inner rim. But nice little bowl, nice little covered bowl at one time. It's sort of like a finger bowl now. But the decoration is very good. It's 18th century, and right now it's up to it's got a day to go. This closes tomorrow. It's up to just $13. It's being sold by a dealer over in the UK. Was it Orienta 63? I don't know him, all right, or her. But anyway, you want to look at that. That's if you like Chinese export in interesting forms. That's sort of a nice one. And then this rondelle is coming up with the dragon on it. This has just gone up. It's got 8 days to go. Those of you buy dragon rondelles, this isn't a bad one. A lot of gold thread on it. It's not a fabulous one, but it's a perfectly good one. And we'll see how that does. And then this is back. This was the fellow that had this up. He sold it for $12,000 and change. Didn't get paid for. He got stiffed. Despicable. And now he wants to try it again. And I hope, if you bid on it this time, pay for it. Okay. This is a nice piece of porcelain. It deserves a home. It deserves to get restored and put back the way it should be. This thing is very deserving of a good home with a good restoration, and made to show what it really is. This is a very, very pretty piece, very unusual, and I hope someone buys it and pays for it and does the right thing with it. It deserves it. All right, and then lastly is this rank badge, a really nice rank badge, military badge with a foulon, late 18th century or early 19th. Nice quality. Could be 18th century all the way through. Nice Kisi work on it. Beautifully done. It's up to $1,575 with 15 bids in the first day. It's got 9 days to go. So that sort of tells you where this thing is going to be heading, probably in the $3,000 to $5,000 range. But a very nice panel, all ready to go, and a very desirable subject matter. And military second rank badges are pretty rare. So we'll see how that does. Okay, and that's about it for the week. There's not a whole heck of a lot else going on. We covered the other sales earlier this week, and that we liked. And we'll see how they do, and we'll cover those afterwards. Excuse me. And I'm getting ready to head off for the weekend, and I hope all of you are too. And we're working on some other videos that we're going to try and get them up next week. I hope you like them. And thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And join us over at Bidamount.com and poke around, use the forum, use the book section, and all that fun stuff. And have a great weekend. Have an absolutely great weekend, all of you. All right. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.